higher demand for data by people working from home has helped boost Vodacom's results. eNCA's business anchor David Morgan is with us. David, I suppose the question is, at what point does all of this result in actual lower data prices?
Yeah, that's indeed correct, Yuvika. That's the pitting point. And we've got Vodacom's CEO with us this morning on a day when the group is posting an 8.3% rise in group revenue. Vodacom profits are up by more than 3.5%. A final dividend of 410 cents per share also declared. Let's bring in Vodacom CEO Shamil Joosub on the show. Shamil, thanks indeed for talking to us. Much of your results today are to do with a shift in this consumption patterns, you know, in this COVID-19 environment. Is that the underlying story of the results today, or is it more than that?
Morning, Devin, and thanks for having us on the call. I think, you know, for me, it's more than that. I think for me, it's delivering in a time when you know, purpose really had to come to the fore. And I think we're particularly proud of the role that we've played in helping through the crisis, whether it be through the price cuts and the 3 billion rand price cuts that were passed on to consumers, or the 2 billion rand, you know, in free person-to-person money transfers to help with social distancing on COVID, and the support that we've provided to governments, from free devices and free data to you know, the helping with the vaccine rollouts across the continent. So, you know, I think through our M-Vaccination platform. So we're particularly proud of that. So that's on the one side. But I think the way our approach to the crisis was also important. I think firstly, it was stepping up as a good corporate citizen. But secondly, it was then investing through the crisis. So what we did is we invested quite heavily into our networks to cope with the traffic, which was inevitable because people had to work from home, educate from home, and entertain from home. And that, I think, you know, basically stood us in good stead. We spent 13.3 billion, of which 10.1 billion was spent in South Africa alone. And that, you know, helped us to cope with the 56% traffic increase that we saw.
You speak about this investment in the network, you know, to counter that traffic increase. What is it, 62 billion rand over 5 years in network infrastructure? I question whether or not that's enough, because in a recent survey, you did slip in the rankings of local network quality with one of your competitors ahead of you. Presumably, this investment now will take you back on top, you would imagine.
Yeah, you know, and I think you know, this year we'll spend another 10.5 billion. So, you know, we will continue to invest. And, you know, I think competition is good, right? So, you know, you win one round, we win one round. I think that's good, because that's part of creating a healthy, competitive environment. But I think the one thing that we do stay head of shoulders above all our competition is still the level of coverage. And so we've been obviously focusing on growing you know, the 4G penetration and now 5G into the country as well. And remember, we're also getting traffic for both Telkom and Cell C on our network as well.
I want to talk about the allocation of spectrum, and you had this sort of temporary allocation of spectrum happening in the past few months, and I suppose that would have been a test as to what we could expect when you have a complete rollout by ICASA. Just tell me how you digested that, and how did it feature in the results? Because that presumably has a lot to do with what happens with data prices going forward.
Correct. So, you know, the way to think about it very simplistically, the more spectrum you have, the cheaper it is for you to produce a gig of data. And so what the temporary spectrum did, it helped us to cope. Of course, not all of it is clean, which means that it's not all of it is usable. But that what was usable was immensely beneficial to us. It also allowed us to launch 5G services. In a category of, because you need this particular spectrum to launch 5G, which the you know, let's say the traditional mobile telcos don't have, which is us, MTN, Cell C. So effectively, you know, that was definitely beneficial. And you know, there is an urgent need for spectrum, which will then help us to further bring down data prices. Look, data prices have fallen by over 50% in the last year. but it needs to continue to fall. And for that, we need to be able to reduce our input costs, and Spectrum helps with that.
I'm interested in the uptake of the business services. I mean, your financial services component has seen an impressive surge, Vodacom Business as well. What's your take on the potential economic fitness of clients at the moment? Everyone's looking at that because it points to the future of this economy.
Well, I think it's important twofold. One is the consumer's definitely under pressure. So you have to provide cheaper solutions to customers, more cost-effective solutions to customers, and help them to digitize their business. And I think one of the opportunities that we're creating with some of these new businesses, it allows people to change the way they operate and to basically digitize. So example would be with the launch of the Alipay, Vodapay platform later in the year, that will allow small businesses the opportunity to expand beyond the geographical areas, to not have to spend so much money on marketing and be able to sell their products to a bigger audience. But we've also created capabilities through our point-of-sale devices, where you'll be able to take a small loan anywhere from 10,000 Rand to a big loan to 1.5 million. And that sometimes, that's what's needed to be able to get the day-to-day trading going. And then, on the enterprise side as well, we've created a number of different solutions like SD-WAN for bigger clients, but also being able to host in the cloud and being able to provide a very strong SME platform, I think, is also crucial going forward. And that will allow you to optimize your costs, but also to find good synergies of taking advantage of new tech.
Shamil, before you go, I mean, the High Court is expected to hand down that verdict on the Please Call Me matter soon. I mean, this has really been a long, long road. So, as you wait for this verdict, I mean, where do you stand on this issue at the moment? A lot of commentary over the past 2 weeks on, the rights and wrongs of this particular case.
Well, I think, from my side, I think essentially, I considered both sides of the matter. And I think I've come to what I consider to be a very fair determination in terms of, of the result that I put forward. I guess that will be borne out by the courts. But I think, one has, made sure that, it was a fair outcome.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Shamil Jusub, Vodacom CEO, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. Yuveka.